Okay, so we are live now. I'm recording this for posterity. Thank you for joining. We have several people already. This is going to be the first meeting of 2019 for the Cloud Native SIG. So if you want to add yourself to the list of participants there, so we know later on who's being on the call. The agenda, if you have a chance to read through the doc, I'd like to talk about a proposal on the Cloud Native side. And we can, I guess we can start. So for those of you that have read this Kosuke's blog, Shifting Gears, here he talks about the future of Jenkins and, well, challenges, and one important piece of it is the Cloud Native Jenkins. So he was proposing Kubernetes as the runtime and creating new extensibility mechanisms and using cloud services more than just file system resources and things like that. And he's calling out Jenkins X as the pioneering Jenkins on Kubernetes. And so with that, I went ahead and created a proposal on what it means to this next cloud native Jenkins. So I linked it from here. I have the link here. Yeah, so you can read that. I'll go through the main points here. So basically, me and other folks at CloudBees, we are suggesting that we invest heavily on Kubernetes as the platform of choice for this Cloud Native Jenkins. And so with that, taking advantage of what Jenkins X has already built. And there's a couple of ways to extend Jenkins X that has been part of the Kosuke's document, and I bring them up explicitly here. There's these two extensibility ideas: build packs for different programming languages. So this is Jenkins file, example codes, and then other files like Helm charts, Docker files, and things like that. And if you install Jenkins X today, you can see that happening, how you can create new projects for Golang, for Node.js, for Maven, all of that, all very easy. And anybody can create their own. Apps where you can extend and configure the platform. There's a few apps today and more coming, but it basically allows to take the model that was very successful in Jenkins of letting people build their own plugins and extending this to building new services that run out of process and do other things or more complex things in Kubernetes. Any questions so far? Okay. Sorry? Okay. So we want to continue operating, we would like to continue operating Jenkins X, or we would like Jenkins X to continue operating as a sister project to Jenkins, and having this fast pace of development, and and basically copying the same ideas that the Jenkins project and community have, like core goes one way, but plugins follow their own pace. So Jenkins X, that's also happening. Yeah, anybody can create their own apps or build packs to extend Jenkins X for different stacks. That's the extensibility model. And Jenkins X is basically distributed as a platform, and where people can add these apps on top, like Kubernetes apps, to build Kubernetes applications to deploy to Kubernetes. That was the first one that was included on Jenkins X. So we would like to bet on Jenkins X being this cloud-native next-generation Jenkins, and obviously there's a lot of room for work that needs to be done. I mean, Jenkins X makes heavy use now of Jenkins File Runner to run serverless workloads, and there's still some work to be done there to make it more efficient, more production ready. And there's a list of other things that can be improved, and we went through some of those. And let's see, Jesse, you left a comment here. So how to make Jenkins run nicely in a cloud native or a Kubernetes world. So with that, I would like to open the mic for questions if anybody has. Jesse, your question here about remoting over the exec API. These are things that came up talking to different people. So we talked about how agents today, basically the JNLP persistent connection is not ideal in a containerized world where you have different services running. So there's an idea of using Kubernetes APIs to run these remote commands. It's just an idea, and there needs to be some work, and whoever is doing it on how to design this, it's up to them to design this in a way that works. But yeah, the idea of like deprecating JNLP and making there was also I think remoting over Docker exec or something like that could allow you to run remote commands without having to have a persistent connection or something. Does that make that clear?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify whether this was talking about agents in the Jenkins sense as things connected over a remoting channel, or if you were talking about some sort of broader notion of agents as containers to which you can send instructions from a build somehow.
Yeah, that's still in the air, but the idea that for this to work better, I mean, something needs to be done with remoting. There was also the other, I have here, the idea of using sidecars as agents, so maybe you don't need to run agents as a pod in Kubernetes in a separate pod, but just run everything on the same pod as different containers, and just do some sort of like local communication, so there's no network. So there's some opportunities there to explore and make it better. I mean, there's also some open questions about what would happen with external agents if you have Windows agents that don't run on Kubernetes, or things that don't run or you need some machine running in a data center or something. How do you connect those agents to a serverless Jenkins? Obviously, that's still in the air. Things like taking advantage of external engines like CodeShip or AWS CodeWheel or Google CloudWheel or any of these cloud-provided build services for things that, I don't know, like Docker image builds if you want to do it in a secure way. This is not an idea of, the goal was not to make a design here, just to expose a few of the future areas of work in order to make this more robust. And obviously, we would continue having these meetings and continue to discuss here the future of Cloud Native Jenkins. There's also Jenkins X office hours and other channels for Jenkins X only. So you can, if you're interested, you can jump into those channels. There's a channel in the Kubernetes Slack, so you can, where the committers hang out, and you can find you can ask questions there if you want to, about Jenkins X specifically. What else? No questions about Jenkins X, Cloud Native Jenkins? Okay, so Jeff, you added an agenda topic here for the Google Summer of Code?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I wanted to chat briefly about the Google Summer of Code. I'm one of the admins on the Jenkins project for Google Summer of Code. And it's something that we've been doing for a few years. We're hoping to have more students this year. So briefly, if you're not familiar with GSOC, it's something that's sponsored by Google. And the goal of it is to get students interested in open source. So it's something that helps both with the open source community and also can help get work done. We had a couple of pretty successful projects last year, and we're hoping for some others. So basically, what we're hoping for out of the SIG is some ideas of projects, because the way it works is we have a list of projects, and students come and they make proposals for how they would implement a project, and then it goes through an acceptance process both with us and Google. And if it's accepted, then there's a mentor from our community, actually one or more mentors that would work with them and make sure that it gets done, and they actually get paid a stipend from Google. So I just kind of wanted to throw that idea out there and see if anybody had any ideas or was interested in mentoring some of these projects, because one of the success metrics is also having lots of people that are willing to mentor, obviously. I did this last year before I was an admin. I think it was probably 2 to 4 hours a week mentoring. It's mostly holding office hours, making sure that the project's on track, and doing pull requests. So I put a couple of links in the document if you want to get involved. And if you have any questions, let me know.
And what is the time frame?
So this starts, it's over next summer, but we're putting together a list of projects now. So I think students probably in like the January or February timeframe will start seriously trying to find projects that they're interested in. And there's kind of a community bonding phase. So there's a sort of a build up towards the actual coding, which happens over the summer.
Cool. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I was a mentor a few years ago, and it's great for the students, definitely. I mean, yeah, we have I guess a big list of things. It's a matter of finding mentors that are willing to cooperate.
Yeah, well, mentors and also project ideas. I think for me personally, working in the industry, I'm interested in this stuff because we use Kubernetes day to day, and we're looking at ways to make Jenkins more effective. And so I think that this is probably an area where we should be able to come up with several projects that that we can have students do to kind of push it forward, and then we can find mentors.
Great.
Yes, sir.
No, sorry, I said great.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, any questions for Jeff? Okay. I have here other topics. Next meeting, I guess I'll give some time for folks to go through the reading, and then we can talk again in February. Oleg is out on paternity leave, so that's why I'm picking up these meetings for now, and maybe get up to speed for the next one. Maybe there's some updates from Config as Code or other projects. I don't know if anybody's going to be at FOSDEM. There's going to be a couple of events. Yeah, there's a pre-FOSDEM, I think this is a dinner, office and happy hour. And there's a post-FOSDEM hackathon. And I don't know yet if I'll be there, but I guess a bunch of people from the community is going to be there. Yeah, there's the Hack Fest on Monday. And this is going to be on Brussels on the first weekend of February. So. And if you have any topics to show, to discuss for the next meeting, just ping me on Gitter. We'll add them to the next agenda. I know there's been folks here working on new plugins for cloud services, so maybe they can give us an update for the next meeting or something, and not putting any pressure. And yeah, any questions or topics you gotta talk about today? Okay. Then I guess we'll do a short one today, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for setting this up, Carlos.
No worries.